Hello friend. I want to tell you about the Škoda Octavia car. The Octavia II Scout was Škoda's first off-road vehicle and for a long time the brand's most versatile model. It proved so successful that it had a successor and is now sought after on the secondary market. Plastic, black bumper elements, and on them silver-like covers at the front and rear. There are also black wheel arches, sills and side moldings. These are the elements that distinguish the Scout from other Octavia versions, including the 4x4 version. Thanks to these changes, the Octavia Scout is 10 mm longer and 15 mm wider than the standard model. It is worth adding that the off-road Škoda was offered only with a station wagon body. Engines. The Octavia Scout was treated as a special model, not just a styling package like the later outdoor models in other models. So only more powerful engines were installed. Before the facelift, the petrol drive was a 2.0 FSI engine with 150 HP and 200 Nm of torque. After the facelift, it was a 1.8 TSI petrol with 160 HP and 250 Nm. There was also a choice of a 2.0 TDI diesel generating 140 HP and 320 Nm. This engine was available for an additional fee with a 6-speed DSG automatic. In cars before the facelift, a PD unit with unit injectors was installed, while after the facelift with a common rail system with the same parameters. Which engine to choose? Although the turbocharged petrol version 1.8 TSI provides the best performance, it comes at the cost of fuel consumption, an average of around 8 to 9 L, 100 km. Unfortunately, as it turned out later, also at the cost of oil consumption. Škoda customers were much more willing to choose the diesel engine and, in fact, petrol versions are extremely rare. It's a bit easier to find a Scout powered by a 2.0 FSI engine. If you absolutely want to buy a petrol version, we can only recommend this engine. It does have problems with carbon deposits and uses similar amounts of fuel as the TSI with worse performance, but at least it's not as troublesome to use. It doesn't need as much oil to drive. The best fit for this car is the diesel engine, which uses about 6 to 7 liters of diesel fuel per 100 kilometers. It is true that you have to reckon with potentially higher repair costs, but this is compensated by better reliability and low fuel consumption. If you choose the pre-facelift version, you are doomed to an engine with unit injectors with the BMM code, but don't worry. It is not the worst design of all PD variants, quite the opposite. The head does not crack, and the oil pump defects do not affect this model. A bigger problem may be failures of the injectors or the particulate filter. Both can be repaired and it is not very expensive. In practice, the Octavia Scout 2.0 TDI PD is a much better proposition than the Octavia Combi 1.9 TDI BXE. After the facelift, the 2.0 TDI CR engine appeared under the hood of this model, but only in 2010. It is a successful unit, which can be more expensive to repair, the injection system. Fortunately, failures are very rare. There are no design flaws, but it is obvious that after a higher mileage you will have to deal with the DPF filter, turbocharger or EGR valve. If we were to honestly recommend an engine for this model, it would be only diesel and no matter which one. The lower the actual mileage, the better, and there is no point in being influenced by the year. What's broken? In the transmission system, leaks are more likely to occur than serious faults. However, this does not apply to dual-clutch transmissions. They generate significant expenses at around 200 to 250,000 kilometers. The clutch assembly and dual-mass flywheel must then be replaced, and the control mechanism is often subject to regeneration. In the Octavia Scout, we are dealing with a wet DQ 250 transmission. This is good, because clutches operating in an oil bath are more durable and can withstand greater loads. It is absolutely necessary to keep an eye on the oil change. If you buy such a version, ask for documentation from this service activity. If the owner of the car has no idea about changing the oil in the transmission, has never done it, it is best to give up or Prepare a lot of cash for a starter package, even if postponed. Always use oil dedicated to a given type of transmission. How to check the DSG gearbox. It is best to take the car to a specialized workshop. A computer test is not everything. A test drive is important. In general, buying an Octavia with DSG is a big risk. Definitely avoid cars with electronic engine tuning, because the manufacturer has provided a maximum load on the gearbox with a torque of 350 Nm. The Haldex clutch should also be kept up with oil changes. It is very durable and practically reliable, but only if it is properly serviced. When viewing the car, check the rear axle for leaks. Apart from specific things, in this model we have to deal with the ailments of every Škoda Octavia II. Most often, it is the little things that break down, which can ruin your nerves. An example are the door seals, which let water into the cabin or make noise when driving at higher speeds. The best solution is to replace them with new ones. It won't be cheap, but it will end the fight against windmills. Sometimes water also gets in because of a clogged drain channel in the sunroof. The quality of the interior is quite good, but the materials themselves wear out relatively quickly. Heater failures in diesel versions occur. The Octavia Scout is an interesting model that, in specific conditions, can be extremely versatile and even better than an SUV due to its very spacious trunk. The car is not an off-roader, but with the right skills, the driver can go really far without major damage to the body or chassis. If someone needs a slightly lifted car that is harder to damage on unpaved roads, the Scout might be a good choice. But definitely the Octavia, because the Fabia and Roomster didn't even have 4x4 drive. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I haven't mentioned, be sure to write about them in the comments.
I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carme.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what breaks and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes, which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on carme.pro.